Good afternoon. Thank you guys all for coming out again. I want to start out by giving Coach Clausen and Wake Forest a ton of credit. I thought they came out and outplayed us, out-executed us in the first half with them, coming off of two hard losses. The way they got their guys ready to play, I thought was outstanding. Against good football teams, you can't put yourself in a hole like that and expect to come out and win. I can't explain to you why we started slow. I wish I could. We had a good week of practice. I thought we were focused, and the results are not there right now. We're going to continue to work through that as a football team, and ultimately it's my job to get it fixed. I told the team at halftime that we've got to play for pride. We've got to play for each other, and we got to go put something on film in the second half that's worth watching, because the wheels kind of fell off in the second quarter, and we've got to regroup, pull together, and show what we're capable of in the second quarter, or in this third quarter, in the second half. And I thought we did that at times. I thought defense came out, got a great 3 and out. We were able to take the ball down and score twice on offense, which is a big deal because we've struggled in the third quarter in all of our games this year. So I thought that was a really good step. Had some real positive bright spots in terms of our team chemistry coming together in that second half, working some different groups, whether you're talking about guys on defense or different personnel groups on offense. And one consistent bright spot for us this year is Austin Walters and what he's been able to do. And he had a heck of a day on Saturday as well, rushing for 167 yards, 69 return yards, and 32 receiving yards, and a touchdown rushing as well as receiving. He now is the national leader in all-purpose yards at this point in time. So we're excited for him. I think he is playing really well right now. Bottom line, in that game on Saturday is you can't come out against a good opponent on the road and spot somebody 21 points and then have the turnovers that we had, that 2 out of the 3 cases didn't even allow our defense to come on the field. So really disappointed that we aren't protecting the ball. It's something we talk about continually on offense. It's something we believe in. As we look at a bright spot, defense getting the 2 takeaways in the second half I thought was huge. And big-time plays that have a chance to change the momentum in the game for us. Obviously, if the score was a little more on the balance, we could have done that. But as we sit here, this tough time, I think our unity and our culture is going to shine through. And what I think you have right now is a hungry football team to get back home, play another conference opponent, and put a much better product on the field for 4 quarters this Saturday. I think we've got an opportunity Saturday against a very tested UTSA team. They started off with 3 Power 5 games in a row. They've won their last 2 contests, and I think that you see how tough or how much tougher they are as a football team after playing those Power 5 teams. And then getting these last 2 wins, I think they're a confident group. And they've earned the right to be, quite frankly. They've earned the right to be a very confident football team. From what I've seen on film, they played very hard on both sides of the ball. You have a very experienced offensive coordinator in Al Borges. I remember when he was in the SEC and when he was at Michigan, I used to watch his tape. And defensively, they're going to line up. They're going to play man. They're going to try to attack your quarterback. They're going to challenge you at all areas of the field, and they're going to try to make everything hard. So we're going to have to do a great job against this confident football team. I think we're going to have a great week of prep, which we're starting on, and then we're going to have to perform on game day to give us a chance to get this game to the 4th quarter and ultimately come out with a win in a very, very important conference game in our home stadium. With that, I'll open it up for questions.
Coach, any significance to the fact that you're coming off of a game against Wake Forest and UTSA has actually played 3 Power 5 schools, so you're looking at like conferences, 2 teams playing it up. Can you kind of talk about that and what effect it might have on the game?
Yeah, I think it's definitely hardened them as a football team. I think they're tougher because of it, and I think you saw that the last 2 weeks in their game against Texas State, and then of course one against the team in our conference in UTEP. I think it hardened our football team too. I think playing great teams like Houston and Hawaii, and then going on the road and playing Wake, I think those are great things that can build your program up in terms of getting your kids used to playing at a high level of competition. And so again, like those things are good, especially when you can bring it back together and get the wins like they've been able to do and get some momentum rolling. And that's exactly what we're going to try to do Saturday.
Can you talk a little bit about UTSA from an offensive and defensive perspective?
In terms of their players, or?
Yeah, sort of what you see in their players or style.
Yeah, number 10 is a receiver that's made plays. They got 2 running backs, one that's rushed for 2,000 yards in his career and one that's rushed for 200 yards this year. And seemingly he's the guy that they seem to be trusting, but they're both going to be back there. On defense, it really starts and ends with number 55. And he's easy to find because of the hair. And Josiah was an All-American, freshman All-American 2 years ago. He's a guy that's got a lot of accolades in this conference. And you can see why. He makes plays. He's a big linebacker that's going to run the ball down, and he gets there with bad intentions. I think up front, you have Nate Newton's son is one of the defensive tackles, and then you have number 54, who's a guy that started 54 games for him. I mean, that's a lot of football being played. So they've got some good experience up there. They're younger in the secondary, you know, and not necessarily in age, but in experience. And you talk about youth. I mean, they've got some youth that they're playing too. When you look at their offense, there's 4 freshmen or redshirt freshmen that are starting on their offensive unit. So there's a lot of similarities between our 2 programs right now.
Is I don't know, is there anything about returning home? Does that feel good? What is it?
Absolutely.
For the last couple of weeks?
It feels great to be home. I think we'll really get the feel for it when we get off the bus on Saturday and see all of our fans and everybody who comes out for Military Appreciation Day. And I think it'll be really exciting for our kids to get home. We're all looking forward to it, and also to get back into conference play.
How do you evaluate the quarterback play that your team has had so far, and what are you looking to see from that position this weekend?
The quarterback play has been a little up and down, and that's a position where we really don't have much tolerance for that to be the case. And I think what we have to see is we have to see Sean take the steps that he took in games 1, 2, and 3 forward, and to eliminate the turnovers, first off, but he's got to be efficient as well. When people are open, he has to hit it. And, you know, I've said it many times in here before, but the head coach and the quarterback get too much credit and too much blame. So we don't want to put that on him right now. You know, it's certainly not all on Sean. But the reality is he's got to play better for our offense to be efficient and to operate the way we want it to.
You mentioned Austin Walter in your opening. What's it like, and in terms of trying to, I guess, if you want to say this, beef up an offense or add something to it? What's it like having a player like that, where you know he can get the necessary yards, particularly on 3rd down?
Yeah, I mean, Nate, I'd say I'm pretty accustomed to having those kind of players, you know, and it makes me a much better coach when we have guys like that, and we can move the sticks. And whether it's a guy like some of the guys we had in the last few years at Stanford, like Christian or Bryce, or a guy like Austin, who right now is getting it done in an all-purpose yards standpoint, you know, I think it's a relief as a play caller when you call a play that you think can be blocked and get 4 and ends up getting 8, or then he steps through that and now it's 60. It's a lot of fun as a play caller. We look smart at those times. So it's not something we're leaning on, but it's something that anytime you can get a well-blocked play to turn into an explosive, it's a lot of fun. And I think right now our team has a lot of confidence that they will just hold that block for 1 split second longer. You know, no matter who's back there, we've got special guys that can make plays.
You said a couple weeks ago that there was a handful of guys that you trusted to put on the field. How's that number grown in the past couple weeks? And there are any 1 or 2 young guys and new guys that have stuck out as getting the right to get on the field more?
Yeah, I think the number has grown. I think you've continued to see guys' roles expand. You saw Antonio Montero get a start the other day, which again, being a starter in our system on offense or defense is really unimportant. It's really about the package that's in at that particular time. At linebacker, we've got 4 guys that we really trust. We're rotating through, so I don't want to make a big deal about who's starting because I see it as very unimportant. But those are guys that every rep you see is earned. And so when you see a guy like Brendan Harmon on the field for the start of the game, or you see Montero on the field, those are great things. And, you know, playing a freshman offensive lineman, a true freshman offensive lineman at left guard in the 3rd series the other day in Cole Garcia, and having him step in and do some nice things, that's all cool stuff to me. And we are seeing more of it. And some of our more dependable players right now are some of those young guys or new guys to our program. You know, you wish Gio, you know, you'll get to hear from Gio in a second, but you wish Gio had a few more years left because some of the new influences to this program are really stepping up and leading as well. And the top line of leadership in this program is doing a great job also. But again, I mean, how about you talk about expanding roles? I mean, Gio 3 carries for 31 yards. 1 for 19. I mean, he's a weapon that clearly I didn't see soon enough. I've got to find ways to feed Gentosi, I think it said on Twitter the other day, so I'll work to do that.
Had a pretty good run Saturday. And he looked like he was a linebacker playing fullback.
Yeah, the first one that just popped open, and he can talk more about that, but I would have wish I could have seen his eyes and how big his eyes were when he saw how big the hole was. But the second run, the one, actually it might have been the third run, but the one that occurred on the 2nd and 4, when he was met at the line of scrimmage because we didn't get somebody cut off. Then he's met at the second level by 2 linebackers and just throws them off like they're children, and then feeds his pad to 3 other dudes at the end of the run. I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about. It's exactly the mentality we need more of.
Coach, if you can talk about the offensive line. They've gone 2 games now with no sack without giving them a sack. Are they starting to gel as far as, just to the new scheme and what you want them to do, especially on pass block?
From a pass standpoint, I was disappointed in how much we got Sean hit against Southern Miss. I thought that, and it started on the first third down of the game where we had a miscommunication, and then he gets hit. And that's really disappointing anytime that happens, especially early on, because something we want to do is we want to hit the quarterback, right? Because we know the impact it can have. And so, again, wasn't real pleased with him in Southern Miss, but as a whole against Wake Forest, absolutely. I thought those guys are doing a nice job. And anytime you talk about pass protection, we have to include the back, because our backs are doing such a good job seeing things right now. And it's also the quarterback getting the ball out on time. So the sack number might be a little deceiving against Southern Miss, but I do think we protected well against Wake. But we have to get more dependable with that group, knowing their assignments. And it's really the wrong way to say that, but because they know them during the week, they can test on them on Friday. But we're having problems with plays that we've repped multiple times against the same look, being able to perform and execute those assignments in games. And it's really frustrating. It's something I haven't dealt with much in my coaching career. When guys know it, usually they can go out on Saturdays and perform. It's something we're continuing to work through with this group of offensive linemen.
I mean, what would you, as you try to figure that out, as you try to figure out a solution to that, can you expand on that a little bit?
Like what we're going to do?
Yeah, and then you just mentioned the fact that you haven't really experienced this before. I mean, can you sort of talk me through that a little bit?
Yeah, I think my experience is that you have guys that learn different ways. Some people learn visually, some learn auditorily, most learn best by kinesthetic, by doing it, right? And so when you can get something from the class to the grass and do it right in practice on Wednesday, usually I was able to have guys do it right on Saturday. And for whatever reason, whether it's anxiety, whether we're carrying more than they're used to right now, we've had too many missed assignments up front to sit here and not address it. So we're continuing to address it. We are going to get them more ways, more walkthroughs in meetings this week, something we're trying to take advantage of that meeting time, continued walkthroughs, and then on the field. I mean, we have to continue to make a big deal if somebody doesn't do their job from an assignment standpoint. Because really the technique doesn't even come into play. All the stuff we do in the weight room doesn't come into play if we don't block the right dude. And so, again, as we're looking at it very fundamentally there, we just got to get on the right people and talk it and hold each other accountable. I think, these guys can hold each other accountable too. I'm a sideline away when somebody doesn't block the right dude. And I'll get them when they come off, but I can't say anything in the huddle. And more than anything, we needed it to be that mentality in the huddle during the week. Guys, that's unacceptable. We need somebody saying that it's unacceptable. So then, as coaches, we can encourage them to strain and really focus on the techniques. But we're going to be great teachers on Monday and Tuesday. We're going to get them to digest this material and hopefully do it well in practice.
5 games in, looking big picture at your program, in which areas would you say you might be ahead of schedule or exceeding your expectations? And then on the other hand, which areas might you be behind schedule or maybe disappointed in what you see?
I don't know how to answer that question with schedule, Matt, just because we're not where I wanted to be. And I don't know if I had expectations that were reasonable, because I do think we're making progress. We've got some people that are doing really well from an individual standpoint. Guys like Austin, guys like Jack Fox. And then you see individuals taking steps and growing into bigger roles and really making plays like George and Oct.l. So, again, we're doing some good things, but if you had told me we'd be sitting here at 1-4, I don't know if I would have believed you. I just had more confidence in what we were doing, and I'm still very confident in what we're doing. I think the direction is very good. I think our group's working very hard at it, I just want us to have more success. And I think that can start Saturday. I know it can start Saturday. We've got to make the decision and go out and make that thing happen. We'll have a great plan for them. We're going to have a great week of practice. We're going to get that done again, and then hopefully we'll go perform on Saturday.
Anything else?